I'm curious about what are those things on your background? What do we have? We have cloudy with a chance of meatballs. I'm gonna make you big, so maybe we can sue them. What are some of the other ones we have there?
Yeah, that's like the spray on shoes, which I feel like is inner, like my inner like child was always like the kid bringing the spray on shoes that like didn't actually work. um, and then that's the electromagnetic spectrum up there. I can go on a rant about that, but I'm just like generally very interested about like how we have this physical reality around us and how we can only perceive like a specific little sliver of it, but we exist within this like larger context that we like feel the like secondary effects of. So anyway, that's like that. This is a golden record, which I think is interesting to kind of like the attempt to distill what life is onto a record in so many ways for like potential life forms to just like interpret it and just like shooting that out into the universe is like so interesting to me. That's the Steve Jobs computer saying hello. I think that is just like definitely has a lot of real estate in my mind as far as his thinking, very early thinking around like what is actually valuable. When everyone is thinking about just technological development, he was thinking about like the actual effect of what happens when a computer looks cute and has like a face and says hello, and like that actually being the differentiator. Same thing here. This like iMac campaign was interesting for like a bunch of different reasons. I think the colorway was a good choice. I really like that campaign overall. And then this is the picture of the first computer vision image, and just like a reason why the industry. Well, one of the reasons why the industry is so male dominated is because this first first image that computer vision was built off of is essentially a porn star, and like this, if it was like her whole body, it's just like this like naked porn star person, and when you use that as the image for training models in computer vision, like the genesis of computer vision, and you're an all male team, and then there's like a new person who's like a woman on the team, she's probably not going to feel very comfortable staying there. So I think just like an interesting part of history that may have influenced been one of the influences and why it's so male dominated today.
Well, I love hearing the backstories of all that. I was so curious. I was thinking I have to ask about that at some point throughout the whole thing. Is there any we can't see, or we can see all of them on your wall?
Yeah, I can show you. So this, I don't know how clean my apartment is right now, but this is my wall, my cork board of just like white papers that I'm reading like for that week. So I don't know if people are interested, I guess they can pause. And then the other two is just the black hole and then AlphaGo. Um, so yeah, the black hole image or just black holes in general is like also has a lot of real estate in my mind because it's just so interesting that like the event horizon and like the concept similar to the electromagnetic spectrum stuff of like there is this reality that we can perceive, and then there's this reality that like we actually can't get any information about even through secondary means, like what is beyond the electromagnetic spectrum. And I think that's like falls under like dark matter and like what is beyond the event horizon, where we don't actually have any information about it, but we know that it exists because of like the surrounding information that we get. So that's anyway, like something that I could talk about forever, but something that's interesting. And then AlphaGo for the obvious reasons of just like an amazing technological feat that is like inspiring to replicate and continue to evolve.
Well, you've talked about like kind of the interpretation of reality, and that's something I'm so curious about too. And I was actually talking with a couple of my buddies. I don't know how much Joe Rogan you watch, but there was this podcast. It's probably like 2 or so weeks old now. It was this guy Thomas Campbell on Joe Rogan, and I would highly recommend it to you, Lior, if you're interested in this stuff. He has this weird, I don't know if you want to call it a theory or whatever you want to call it, but where he can perceive alternate realities through a state of meditation. So, it's far out there, and you have to be someone who's open to hearing that type of stuff, but you would probably be highly interested in it. So, I don't know how much Joe Rogan you listen to. That one you probably like. What about
Yeah.
the stuff that's written down to behind you? Does that have any? Is that part of Shopari, or is that random thoughts?
This was like a 3 a.m. thought, which is just like it started as how I wanted to map out my personal website, and then it turned into this whole like what is the philosophy behind like the architecture of this stuff and how do you like reflect it to be like reflect the way that I think about things. I don't even really know. It was 3 a.m. And then the other things are um, to do notes.
So that's super cool that you have a wall that's like a wall that you can write on. You're not just writing on a wall, right? Like there's whatever.
Yeah, it's a wall that I can write on. I luckily have a very talented sister who somehow was able to put these stickers on the wall without any air bubbles.
That's pretty cool. And when you have a thought, how do you determine if it's valuable or not, and like to write it down or not? Do you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so pro like not having any barrier between your thoughts and then the physical, like getting them out, which is why I have that whiteboard wall. I also write all over my windows. I just cleaned them off, but like there's literally like so much surface area for writing everywhere in here. Because I don't actually think you should ever write off anything. I think bad ideas are great for context of good ideas.
And the fact that you wrote that stuff down at 3 a.m., I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo. Maybe you're a weirdo like me. But I feel like sometimes when you're trying to fall asleep, it's like you get this burst of creativity and just like energy to think about whatever, issues or random stuff that pops into your mind. But yeah, does that happen to you often where like it'll be late at night and you feel this creative burst of energy?
Yeah, I actually just went to the doctor a couple days ago because like I genuinely cannot fall asleep before 8 a.m. because everything is like moving so fast. So I take melatonin to like fall asleep by like 3 or 4, but it's a blessing and a curse. Like I do have to be awake during like normal hours also. So I do love the spurt of energy that happens at night, but also I'm like, okay, well now it's 8 a.m. and I have a meeting in an hour. So
Have you ever? It sounds like you have, where you have something and you feel such a passion and like an energy for it, where you just cannot go to sleep and you just would rather be working on it, and you almost can't even control yourself. You just like follow the idea. I've,
pretty much every night, yes.
yeah, I think I've heard Elon Musk talk about that kind of before, where like someone asked him about what it's like to be him, and he said like most people would not want to be me. And you see him, and he's now the richest man in the world, and I guess he's a controversial figure now, but obviously had a lot of success in the business world. But just the amount of information and processing that's going on in his mind, it's probably almost unimaginable. And I guess a lot of people like yourself and people who are running businesses experience that as well.
Yeah, there's downsides to absolutely everything.
That's something I think about a lot. I don't know if everything is balanced, but like there can't be good without bad. Everything must have like a negative and a positive. So I'm wondering, like, myself, is everything balanced out in the end, or are some things actually net good versus net bad, or does everything have a Polaroid reverse yin and yang to it?
I feel like I have no actual factual backing to this opinion, but it's just a feeling that I've always had is that like there must be some sort of like perfection, like there must be some sort of like perfect balance, but I don't think it's something that we'll ever actually experience. I think similar to like the electromagnetic spectrum stuff and stuff like that. I think we exist within this we exist this tiny like microscopic sliver in this way like omnipresent almost reality that we can only perceive so much of it directly, and then beyond the stuff that we can perceive directly we can have secondary means like different instruments and stuff to detect certain waves and like microwaves and whatever, just different ways like that. And then there's like the reality that exists beyond our ability to even perceive it through secondary means. And I think it only makes sense that there will be some sort of like cyclical like yin yang perfection, or like there is, but I don't think it's something that we will ever be able to wrap our heads around, at least as a physical body.
Yeah, our human limitations coming into place again. Maybe AI with its superiority might help us understand it one day. Um,
Yeah, singularity.
yeah, it's coming quicker than we think.